MIT is a party school. Some of the clubs are very competitive, pass no record, PE requirements. Collaboration is so common. Hi guys! Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to do a chatty get ready with me while I talk to you guys about things that I didn't know about MIT before coming here. I really had fun making this video, so without further ado, let's get on with the video. Hi guys, little interception from editing Gina here. I'm currently editing in the dark, which is why it's so dark around me, but I just wanted to preface that I actually knew basically nothing before applying to MIT and also getting into MIT. The only things I knew were that MIT is located in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and that it's a really good engineering school. So some of the things that I say in this video you might already know and might be kind of common knowledge about MIT, but I personally did not know anything. So hopefully you guys still enjoy this video. But to be honest, because it's been so hot these past few days, I haven't really been doing a full face of makeup, so this is the first time in a while. First thing that I want to talk about, and the most, I guess, surprising thing to me when I came to MIT was that MIT is actually party school. What I mean by that is that MIT students are basically the epitome of work hard, play hard. During the weekday, people would be doing their P-sets, their assignments, and then during the weekday, they go crazy. But what was even more crazy to me was that students from neighboring colleges actually come to MIT to party. So whenever you go to like an MIT party, it's really common to see people from BU, BC, Wellesley, Harvard, Northeastern, like the list goes on because there's so many colleges in Boston. Also related to this, MIT actually has a lot of Greek life, which I didn't expect when I came here. A lot of people are involved in frats, sororities, but you also aren't excluded because you're not in a sorority or frat. Like, I'm not in a sorority, and I think that's totally fine. I have a lot of friends in sororities, so I never really felt left out. Another thing that I didn't know about MIT is that MIT is obsessed with numbers. What I mean by this is that people refer to their majors, or we call them courses, as numbers. For example, I am chemical biological engineering, so I'm course 10B. It's totally normal for people to introduce themselves like, I'm course 6, I'm course 2A, I'm course 16. And people just know what you're talking about. And another thing that's crazy is that our buildings are also numbers. So the Chemi building is building 66. So I can be like, I'm taking 1010 in building 66, or I'm taking 1803 in 2600. And that's like a completely understandable sentence. MIT also celebrates Pi Day. So a lot of clubs on campus will actually give you free pie on Pi Day, and our regular decision day is on Pi Day, which is a little quirky thing that MIT does. Another thing about MIT is that MIT has a different schedule than most colleges. MIT starts early September compared to other colleges which start in late August. Compared to all my other friends, I always started a little later. And during the month of January, we have something called IEP, which is the independent activities period. Literally a time for you to do anything. So some people do internships, some people do GTL, which is our global teaching labs, where you teach middle school or high schoolers things in different countries, or you can even just stay home or take a class. And then our second semester starts in early February and we end in late May. And because we start so late, we actually don't really have a reading week. I know that students in Harvard or other colleges, after your last day of classes, you have like a week to study for your finals, but at MIT, a few days after our last day of classes, we have our finals. I started breaking out 2 days ago, so it might have not been the best time to film this video, but we gotta do what you gotta do. Now my base makeup is basically done, so we're gonna move on to the eye makeup. I have a really beat up palette because I've dropped it so many times. The next thing about MIT is that we have something called MIT time, which refers to lectures and recitations. It's when classes start 5 minutes after their scheduled time and they end 5 minutes earlier. It's just such an ingrained thing in campus that some clubs, especially dance clubs that reserve rooms to practice in, they will say like, oh, we don't follow MIT time, to make sure that people get there on time. During the fall semester of your freshman year, we actually have something called pass no record, and I feel like this is something that a lot of people know about MIT, but I just personally didn't know when I was applying. And so your first semester, you only need to pass your classes, or if you fail them, you just don't have it on your transcript at all. This just helps students get more used to the academic rigor at MIT. We'll have different strategies for using PNR. Some people just use it for their general requirements, or other people try to take harder classes to maximize their PNR. If I had to go back and live out PNR again, I would probably say to use PNR to its fullest. Go out with your friends. Of course, make sure that you can at least pass your classes. Also, after you PNR, you have 4 more PNRs that you can use for all of your classes. Another thing that is a little quirky about MIT is that MIT has a pirate license. You can obtain the pirate license once you have completed archery, fencing, air pistol or rifle, and sailing. You can get a certificate that says that you are a pirate. MIT has PE requirements, so you are required to take 4 PE classes. I guess this is to make sure that everyone at MIT is getting some sort of physical activity in. And you also need to take a swim test to graduate, or you can take a swim class if you don't know how to swim. Another thing that MIT students do is called hacking. It's actually just like little mini pranks that MIT students do. A really famous one is that students put a police car on top of the dome. There are a lot of like secret passageways / tunnels to get to secret rooms or on top of buildings, so a lot of students will go hacking and go through the tunnels and get to these top of the buildings. A lot of people have fun doing them. I think that they're fun to do at least once. The next thing that I didn't know about MIT is that MIT students get something called a brass rat, which is a class ring that you get after you complete your sophomore year at MIT. The design of the ring changes every single year. It's really a monumental thing in your MIT career, basically saying that you're halfway done with MIT. You get your ring sized, you get to choose your bezel size, your engraving, the kind of finish that you want, the kind of material that you want. It's also extremely expensive, and at the end of the year you go to ring delivery where you actually receive your rings. It definitely was one of my highlights as a sophomore. I had to put my hair up because it was getting way too hot. The next thing about MIT is that academic buildings are actually very consolidated. Basically at MIT, once you get through the main entranceway we call lobby 7, you can basically get to all of the other buildings without leaving the building, so you basically don't have to go outside most of the time. It's really nice in the winter time when it's like really cold because you'll be in a heated area, and in the summer because you'll experience air conditioning. I do appreciate that they're all very close to each other, because having to take a bus throughout your campus would actually be really annoying to do. Related to that, MIT also has tunnels underground that you can use to get throughout the buildings as well. A lot of people say that it's really good for the winter time when it's cold. The next thing is actually a place that I bring all of my friends who visit me, and it is the Banana Lounge. As the name suggests, it's basically just a lounge that has boxes on boxes on boxes of free bananas for students and faculty members. I've actually seen other fruits at the Banana Lounge. Like, I think I got a dragon fruit from there once. It's just a very quirky thing about MIT. The next thing is something that I expected when I came to MIT, but also like it really hit me when I first came here. There will always be someone better than you. My peers, they competed and won a lot of like international Olympiads, ISEF, other research competitions, other programs. And honestly, like I didn't do any of that when I was in high school, so I learned about these for like the first time, and I was like, wow, these people are like really amazing at what they do. I respect them so much. So many people here have a 5.0 GPA. Oh, by the way, our GPA scale is out of 5 and not 4, but so many people have a 5.0 GPA and do so many extracurriculars. So many people are getting really good internships, taking super hard classes. People are just so good at what they do. You can get really sad if you compare yourself to them a lot, but it's really just something that I respect of people, because so many people here are very passionate about what they do and just so good at it as well. I have honestly stopped caring about it. Realize that you shouldn't compare yourself, because everyone at MIT deserves to be here, and there's a reason why comparison is a thief of joy, because it will make you feel a lot less than people if you keep comparing yourself. Another thing that I found out when I was researching MIT, when I was picking colleges, is that you can cross-register at Harvard. This was one of the things that was really good when I was thinking about it, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm picking MIT over Harvard. But when I realized that you can cross-register at Harvard, it was like, oh, like if I wanted to take Harvard classes, like I could. The next thing about MIT that I feel like since you think of MIT as a top college, you would assume that everyone here is really, really competitive with each other. And yes, there is always competition. Like a lot of people are competing for the same jobs and internships and stuff like that. But I feel like collaboration is so common here. Like if you need help on a piece set, people are very willing to help you. I feel like I got so much help from just sitting at office hours and just asking people around me like how to do the questions, because people are just so willing to help you. I think people are very open to collaboration because people know that they don't know everything, so in preparation they just help a lot of people so that they can get help later on if they need it as well. I've heard a lot of like horror stories from people from other colleges, like Ivy League colleges, that people would like rip pages out of textbooks and stuff to prevent people from studying, and I have never had that instance here at MIT before. I don't do any sports, but for anyone who's interested in sports, MIT usually competes in the D3 division. I'm not sure if this is the only sport, but one of the main sports that it competes D1 is rowing, which honestly was not really a popular sport where I am from, or at least to my knowledge. So many people do rowing here, probably because we are located right next to the Charles River, which is such a great place to be because you can just walk on the bridge and it's so relaxing and calming. But overall, like sports at MIT are really not that celebrated compared to other colleges where sports are a really big thing, like especially like football. Here at MIT, there are games happening, but they're not really promoted in the school community, so I usually don't know when games are happening. The thing that I would want more is overall just more school spirit. Another thing about MIT is that MIT dorms are not based on year. A lot of my friends' colleges, they change dorms every single year, and the freshman dorm is like the worst dorm and the senior dorms are like the best dorm. But at MIT, it's very common for people to stay in the same dorm all 4 years because freshman to senior all get the same dorm places. If you don't like your housing, there is a lottery process that you can get to other dorms, but they're not always guaranteed, and especially if you are trying to get into one of the more popular dorms like BC or Newhouse, those are very hard to get into. Also, another thing about MIT dorms is that people usually stay on campus all 4 years because the housing prices in Boston go crazy, so it's just very easy for people to stay on campus. I'm pretty sure you are guaranteed housing all 4 years, correct me if I'm wrong, and you are required to stay in an MIT dorm your first year of campus, which I think is actually a pretty good thing because being in a dorm is a really great way to make friends, especially in your first year of college, because you usually have a roommate or 2 or 3. I had 2 roommates when I was a freshman. You can be friends with your roommate, and then your roommate can introduce you to their friends, and you can hang out in the dorm lounge. You can make friends that way as well, so it's a very natural way to make friends. Also, I think it's just a good thing to live with a roommate at least once in your life because it really puts into perspective your rooming habits, and it also just like makes you think about how to be considerate with people in your space and like keeping clean and making sure that you're not making your roommate uncomfortable as well. So good thing to experience at least once. A lot of MIT dorms also don't have air conditioning, which I thought was really strange when I first came here. To be honest, during the school year you don't really need air conditioning because in Boston you kind of just have like a really cold winter and fall season, so you don't really end up reaching for an air conditioner. Some dorms do have air conditioning, but my dorm actually doesn't, and I've survived so far, so I think it's fine, at least for the school year. Now that I'm here for the summer, it does get a little hot. Actually, it does get very hot. I guess one thing that I just thought of is some of the clubs at MIT are very competitive, especially like the business club and the consulting club. Getting into MIT is hard enough, but getting into the clubs and also getting into MIT is very difficult. Some of the clubs are not competitive, like we have a lot of dance clubs that are all-inclusive and that there are no cuts, but there's also just other clubs that have to go through multiple rounds to get into. So just something to keep in mind. The last thing that I have drafted so far is that there is a saying that a lot of people use, and it is IHTFP, which has a lot of different meanings, but I guess the most popular meaning that I've heard of is I have truly found paradise. So saying that like, oh yeah, like being at this school is so great. And then the other one is the total opposite, is I hate this fucking place. And honestly, you really feel both the moods when you're here, because when you have a stressful week or stressful day, you really truly don't like this place. But sometimes when everything goes well and you're having a great day and you're like hanging out with friends and stuff, like it really is a fun place to be. Thanks for getting ready with me. I hope you guys learned something new while watching this video. If you have any other videos that you would like for me to make, please let me know down below. Also, we recently hit 5,000 subscribers a few weeks ago. I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching my videos and supporting me. See you guys in my next video. Bye!